Hi, welcome to Foxy's Little Nuggets, the only news roundup of the day where we put our ears to the ground and hear hooves and think zebras. First up, we've got several stories here. First up, though, we're going to, of course, talk about Andy Burnham because it's almost obligatory at this point, isn't it? Yes, we've just got the one Burnham story for tonight. So there's plenty of them, but I've just picked one because even I have limits, and so does medical science. But Burnham gave his big Manchester speech. He was promising good growth in every postcode. Well, he meant every postcode north of Watford Gap, that's for sure. More power for the north and a shiny new number 10 north. Socky Hall Street is number 10 north, but he doesn't want to go that far north, does he? It all sounds bold until you remember that he refused to take questions afterwards, presumably because the answers would have been difficult. It's not necessary to expand because this is not transparency. It's a TED talk with a panic room. He wants to move power out of Whitehall, build more council houses, reindustrialise Britain and give everyone else hope, which is lovely. Except, of course, how much is it all going to cost? And he has no idea. The main thing he's transferred out of Westminster, though, is accountability. Still, number 10 North may just, maybe, happen. Though with Downing Street, Chequers and now Manchester, Britain soon may have more prime ministerial addresses than functioning public services. Then we have to have a look at the next story, which I covered early today and I was appalled at because of the repercussions. This is one of those where it sounds like a good idea at the time, but upon closer inspection, it's horrendously bad. And that is Spain's immigrant amnesty. Because the Spanish socialist government said a mass amnesty for illegal immigrants would involve around 500,000 immigrants. It's currently sitting at 1.5 million immigrants. So, oops. That's not miscalculated. It's policy equivalent of ordering a taxi and being collected by the Spanish Armada. Applicants will get legal residency, work permits, access to benefits, passports, and eventually citizenship and passports. And officials now have to process a mountain of paperwork. Experts warn some applications may have involved forged documents, but they're expected to just not pay attention to that and give them the amnesty anyway. So you don't know who you're bringing in. Governments call it compassion, but it's not. It's self-delusion and it's self-ending. You're literally killing your own country, but trying to make it virtuous as you do so. A lot of voters in Spain are going, hang on a minute, how many? And whirling when they hear the answer. Then, of course, we've got the other problem of ghost schools. And this is something that's happening more and more because across the whole of Britain, closed schools and empty schools are now appearing on the property market. But the limitations on them are so appallingly tight that most of them are going to end up probably unsellable. Certainly in the current form. One former independent school in Surrey is up for £8 million. 24 acres, 15 buildings, sports facilities, swimming pool. All sounds wonderful. Until the buyers will discover the planning system will only let them use it as something very specific, very institutional, very expensive. Such as a public school, for example, which is what it used to be before it died because of the VAT on public schools. So great, isn't it? We've now got all these very grand, wonderful school buildings with all these swimming pools, tennis courts, croquet lawns, you name it, rolled out grasses, pitches, delicate little shrubberies, woods for nature walks, all these things. But no pupils, no easy use and no clear future. What a waste. There's others. There's a primary school in Nottingham, which is brand new, never been used, never had a child in it. They closed it before they opened it because there were, they built this school and there's no children. They built it in an area with 350 houses, not realising that those very expensive houses were all bought by basically pensioners and people who's already had kids and they've grown up and moved away. Yeah, because they're all too expensive for first-time buyers to buy, the young that have kids or will have kids. So they just didn't bother opening the school. You couldn't make it up. It's like a hospital with no patients, isn't it? But there we go. Then we go up, across north of the border, up Glasgow way. Well, actually up Inverness and Aberdeen way to be specific. The SNP promised to make Scotland roads safer by 2030, and that's a promise that they've broken. Deaths were supposed to be halved. By 2024, the latest figures available, they were down just 7%, so hardly a roaring success. Ministers rolled out the unpopular 20-mile-an-hour zones. That's actually made things worse, reduced air quality, increased frustration, anger, etc. Doesn't actually help. They pretend it does, but it really doesn't. The big problem they have is where the accidents actually happen, which is on the A9 and the A96, the two most dangerous main roads in Scotland, the ones that the SNP have promised for 20 years now to dual, but won't, because the Greens say you mustn't, and the SNP are actually controlled by the Greens. It's the Greens who've got their hands up the arse of John Swinney and they're operating the mouth. The government says it's investing £41 million. Well, is it investing that by dualling any part of the A9 or the A96? No. So, what's it achieving? Well, anything achieved by the SNP. Sweet Fanny Adams. Incidentally, just people don't know, Sweet Fanny Adams was actually a murder. She was a young girl, Sweet Fanny Adams, and she was so badly slaughtered and butchered by her killer that sailors took to calling the chopped tinned meat that they get on board ships shortly afterwards, oh look, it's the remains of Sweet Fanny Adams, because it was just chopped meat in gravy. And then, of course, Sweet Fanny Adams became something else, didn't it? Because it has the shared initials with Sweet Paul. But there we go, that's who that was. Anyway, we do have a marvellous bit of good news. JCB, yes, you know, the diggers and whatever. They've been testing a new hydrogen-powered car. It's called the Hydromax. They've been doing it at RAF Wittering in Cambridgeshire. I don't like Wittering. I don't like any kind of casual talk. Actually, to be fair, RAF Wittering is about 20 miles north of me. I come out my road, turn right, down the A14, turn left on the A1, go about 15 miles, and you're at RAF Wittering. Anyway, they're using it because they got the the runway. It's a 32-foot British-built engineering marvel. It's powered by two hydrogen engines based on JCB digger technology, and it's driven by Wing Commander Andy Green, the world's fastest man. Fastest man on land. He's the one who broke this land speed record in thrust SST. Managed to break the sound barrier in a car. Well, Wing Commander Andy Green has now broken a new world speed record, because in his JCB engined car, he's managed 200 miles an hour in a JCB. The next stop is the Bonneville Salt Flats in America, where the team will try to set the new world hydrogen land speed record. And the best bet? This is not just boys with spanners trying to go very, very fast, although obviously it's a glorious advertising for it. It's British engineering at its best. Remember, the world's fastest car is British, and the world's fastest hydrogen car is about to be British. Goes to show that clean technology does not have to be dull and beige and come with a plug-in thing. It can be hydrogen powered. Marvellous. Loud, fast, ridiculous, magnificent, and British. So good luck to Andy Green. A hydrogen-powered JCB rocket car built in Britain, chasing the world record across the desert. Makes you proud to be British. Makes you wonder what Jeremy Clarkson's going to be doing. I bet he's out there. I bet he's watching. God, rule Britannia. Let me know what you think. Thanks very much. Bye.